And welcome, everybody, on this Wednesday edition of the HeatRatio podcast. I'm your host, Tony Cotillo, joined by John Coker, and back once again, Mr. Coach Dave Dixon. And we got a ton to talk about, boys. I mean, from NCAA Tournament, from NFL rule changes, to NBA playoffs, to MLB opening day. I mean, it's just all over the map. This is a good time to talk sports. I guess we'll start off with the NCAA Tournament because it's March time, and we're at the Sweet 16 right now, and last week we talked about favorite moments and favorite memories, old teams, UNLV, Fab Five. Obviously, we touched on that. It seems like more people are running Rebs as opposed to Fab Five, which I'm cool with because I'm running Rebs for my team. But right now, we got a couple other moments to talk about. We talk about UCF should have beat Duke. Still can't get over that.
Yeah.
That was, you know what I mean? I think Johnny Dawkins still can't get over that himself. Two good shots. I mean, Taylor had a really good shot. He just shot a little long, and I forget who. I forget the player's name who had the rebound, the tip in that literally like rolled 75% of the rim and came out. But Duke is beatable, man, and that's the thing. Like, I hate Coach K. I'll never like Coach K. And I'm so pissed off that they got through that game because I still think the missed free throw by Zion, Barrett pushed in the back. He got away with the push off, and it should have been a foul, and it wasn't. Got the ball, put it in. So that game should have been a loss. And, you know, there's some other games to talk about, but, I mean, for the most part, it's every 1 and 2 seed in the Sweet 16, right?
And 3 seed.
And I mean,
wait, what was Kansas?
Kansas got knocked out. They were a 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Duke's playing number 4 Virginia Tech, is that right?
Vatek.
Yep.
So they were a number 4 seed.
Yeah, so I mean, all top seeds respectively, you know, on that end of the bracket.
Auburn the 5-1, and then Oregon the 12. Outside of that, it's top 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, UC Irvine gave us a little show.
Well, and
it didn't end great.
I think back in the day, if you didn't pick an upset, like I would just, your bracket's never going to win. You know what I mean? It was always
you always
talk.
Yep.
Right, and then, you know, like I know my kids when they fill them out every year or whatever.
But how long you been doing brackets for? Because I don't remember doing brackets when I was like 15.
I was
right?
I was doing them definitely in high school. I know that.
See, I never,
think even 7th grade,
never did the brackets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until I became.
I think I used to run my own brackets, but I don't know that there was.
Probably had some kind of formula.
Oh, you know,
cooking out some kind.
No, but I mean, it's just funny. Like, and I watch my kids; they pick all the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and you say, "You can't turn this in. This is never going to win." And then, sure enough, one year, here it is.
UNC, baby, Roy Williams. Look out! I'm telling you, I still have. I mean, they're strong, man.
Hey, even though Duke, you know, that was a really good game to watch. I still think they're the team to beat. I mean, the problem is, look, Taco, that with that size, that's what, you know, you need.
So
a team.
Awkward.
You need a team with size.
That dude's been new bowl with weight.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, seriously, he's just so big and oafy. You know, and it's a shame. I mean, you're that tall, but you can't get out of your own way, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know?
It takes
What's
a long
like getting
time.
on a plane being that tall? Was that terrible?
Well, it's not like putting your shoes on. I could say other things, too, but a la Nick Foles, but I'll be good.
Oh, boy.
I'm just saying, but, you know, I mean, God bless him.
Sorry, John.
But,
I know you were on a roll. I apologize.
I know. We always do that to John.
He's so pissed off right now.
Nah.
He gets that look, like, all right, I'm done. Like, remember before the show, he's like, all right, can we get the sound check on? Like, let's get this thing rolling. I want a burger. But, because I'm feeling a burger. But, shout out GD. But, yeah, listen, I mean, the thing is, usually you have a consistent, you know, storyline of certain team. You know, last year, obviously, it was, you know, UVA getting tossed out. But this
year,
almost blew it. They were down 10 again, and I was like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest storyline that we take from this tournament, except for the Duke game, is the Tom Izzo, Aaron Henry situation. I mean, that I've commented on, and we've talked about, and I've been on social media, and, you know, I've talked about it. As Scott Van Pelt, I mean, dude, he was right on the money on SportsCenter. I completely agree. I think both you guys as coaches will concur. You may have a little bit different of opinion, but I mean, we are really making these kids soft in our society. I really believe that. Like, when does it come to a point where you're not allowed to demand, a skill level to come out when you know they have it? Why do we shy our kids away from competition? Why do we shy? We're so worried about hurting somebody's feelings instead of bringing out their true potential. So I don't understand. Like, where is that line? I mean, I love what he did. And on top of what he did, he was backed not only by the player, but the players on his team, the ex-players like Draymond Green. Okay, that's a family over there in Michigan State. Just like SVP said, they got more 4-year players than any other school, and it's because of what Izzo built. So I don't have a problem with it whatsoever.
No way. There's
right?
no problem with what he did whatsoever, because exactly what you said, Tom Izzo shows those kids that he cares.
Yep.
That's the difference. When you show somebody you care and you get in them like that, they know that they messed up. Not only what people don't understand is the behind-the-scene things. When Tom Izzo pulls that kid into his office and has a one-on-one conversation
exactly
with him, and he discusses things like adults should be able to discuss things. Tony, just because you and I disagree with things doesn't mean we shouldn't be friends. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have an argument. And people today don't understand. They're not comfortable with it. They're safe. They're fast to cut the sever. Oh, I'm never talking to them again.
Yep.
They wronged me. No, it's okay to have an argument and move on from it. And what you just said, our society, not to get on my pedestal, but we are creating softies.
Yes,
I've been saying it for years.
It's the truth.
Softies.
We're being a family show here.
He said softies.
Wow, they have Beavis and Butthead reference. I like that.
So I have absolutely nothing wrong with Tom Izzo, and I think it was great that players like Draymond Green stepped up and said, you know what, this is something that it's okay. It's okay to yell and to be that way out loud and in public, and get over it.
Absolutely,
get over it. And I'd like that the other player and say, Coach, we
got this.
Yes. Yep. Because that shows how together they actually really are. And I love what you said. Tom Izzo has 4-year players that stay for 4 years more than any other team.
Yep.
I think for years now.
For years.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, and it's a shame that we're making it a conversation.
I agree. And why are we making it a conversation? Because society forces us to make it a conversation.
Yeah, social media.
That's the problem. Oh, look at instead of watching the actions of the player and holding that player accountable, the first thing is let's hold the coach accountable because he may have hurt his feelings, or why did he have to do that in front of everybody? Like, come on, man. When is enough enough? That kid goes on to the NBA, or maybe that kid goes to manage a firm somewhere. Is he never supposed to be called out for job performance? Is he never supposed to be called out for what he does at the NBA level? It's going to happen.
Yes.
So what's going to happen when he's not used to hearing that?
Yeah.
Right? And then he gets it. He's going to collapse, or he's going to rebel, which is what people don't understand. If you don't teach him early, or he's going to fail. Exactly.
He's going to fail and not be.
It's ridiculous.
Productive. Now, with Tom Izzo, and this goes for coaches, I heard somebody say, and I wish I could quote him right now who said it, but when a coach stops talking to your kid is when you should be concerned.
Yeah.
Or yelling at your kid, you should be concerned. Because you know what? Then it's done.
It's done. He doesn't care anymore.
It's all over.
The passion's done.
Yes.
The effort's done to try to mold that player. I agree.
The coach realizes now that my efforts on you are now no longer.
Yep.
So, I don't have – that's how we were raised. That's how –
I agree.
Specifically in my household and the coaches that I've had throughout my life that have been very influential. And I have had coaches that when you missed a sign at third base – this is in high school. The man sat Indian style on third base and yelled things. I'll wait for you. You missed a sign. This was an adult. We were in high school.
Yep.
My high school. That was my baseball coach. My high school football coach was a guy like we're having conversation right now. That's how he would speak to us. He would paint us a whole picture. And this guy, he was a young man too, and the way he expressed his message was phenomenal. Everybody got it. We became a good football
and you buy
team.
in.
You buy in. Everybody's involved.
Yes.
And when he did flip his lid, because it is football now, we didn't let you down, Coach. We let the team. When the coach flips his lid,
yes.
You didn't let him down. You let all those other kids that are working their rear ends off to execute the play properly. That's why you get yelled at.
Yeah.
Because that coach not only is concerned about you, but the rest of the team that you let down. And that's what people don't understand about coaching and about how things work.
I agree. I mean, there's no other words for it. There's really not. That's John's comment at the bed. I mean, you agree, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, oh, yeah.
So coaching is leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. And you got to figure out how to get the best out of whether it's your team, whether it's the corporate world. You got to treat people differently because you get through to them when you treat them the way they need to be treated. Or, some kids need a kick in the butt. Kids or adults need a kick in the butt.
Absolutely.
Other ones, you kick them in the butt, they're going to shut down. So it's a coach and a leader's job to figure out how to get the best out of people. Sometimes it's rewards. Sometimes it's punishment. So it's coach's responsibility to figure out how to get the best out of them.
It translates up until the professional level. I mean, we could just talk about Antonio Brown for 1 second. Here's a player who, for whatever reason, wants to rebel, right? So he doesn't like what's going on. You know what? I'm just going to go somewhere else and play. Instead of trying to conform and trying to work that system out, because this is what we're teaching players, and this is what we're teaching our kids. It's okay to give up in one scenario and just go to the next one because you maybe, this guy yells too much, or this guy, man, how much does he want me to do? Like, nobody... I'm sorry, and I'm probably going to get slapped for this, but this is such a lazy society. Like that I know when I was a kid, I was busting my ass, whether it be working 2 jobs or these kids don't want to do anything. I mean, seriously, they don't want to do anything. I think because they feel everything, they're entitled to everything.
Oh, some of it's also you sign up for whether it's a sport or a class or whatever, and you don't like it after 2 classes, and I'm just going to quit.
Right.
No, you signed up for this. It goes from start date to finish date, and you're going through it.
I don't care
and
if
then
you
next
failed
time
or not.
You think, right.
You'll figure it out.
Antonio Brown, you signed a 3-year contract extension with that team, with that head coach, with that quarterback, with that GM.
Yep.
So it's a different mentality. Different mentality.
I completely agree. But overall, as a winner, I mean, I'm just going to say, put that topic to rest because I think we all agree. And look at this bracket as a whole. And out of the teams, I mean, I'm still going to go. I said North Carolina in the beginning. I think, John, you said Duke.
I had Carolina.
Oh, you had Carolina too?
Yeah,
and Dave, were you a Duke guy?
I was Duke.
Okay, so we're all still alive. We'll see what happens. I'm still holding strong for UNC. Number 1, because I love their uniforms. Number 2, because I love Roy Williams. And number 3, I think they're a really strong team, and I think Duke's beatable. So we'll see what happens. But on to the next topic at hand, and I think that obviously right now, the NFL, there's a lot of things going on in the NFL, and we're going to get to MLB opening day. We're going to get to a couple other topics. But the reason why I bring up the NFL is because we're talking about rule changes. And before we get into some local events or some local topics, obviously – the NFL owners' meetings are in progress right now, which I seen a picture the other day with Andy Reid, with all the coaches. You see Andy Reid. I mean, just the Andy Reid coaching tree, we talked a little off air about this, is insane. It really is. And, just to know how many coaches have come off of that tree, it makes him what we know is one of the best coaches of all time. Where he ranks, that'll be a topic for another day, but just knowing that, guys like Harbaugh and, guys like Nagy and Peterson and Todd Bowles, Pat Shurmur, I mean, these guys, Ron Rivera, Leslie Frazier, who was a former coach, Brad Childress, Sean McDermott of the Bills. I mean, everywhere you look, and active. That's the thing now. I think there's, 6 or 7 active head coaches are off the tree. I mean, Andy Reid at any given time looks at the sideline, and he's basically battling one of his one of his students in the game, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It really is to me. But as far as the rules, I think they're pretty interesting. I think I picked the main two out, obviously, and the one I think has a lot of potential as to what it could have been if it was in place this year with the Saints and the Rams game. And why I say that is allowing pass interference, roughing the passer, and defensive player fouls to be reviewable. If approved, a coach will be able to challenge those called infractions by throwing his flag, a la we know that replay. Replay officials would take over the review responsibility during the final 2 minutes, just like normal. But the big thing is allowing the pass interference, roughing the passer, defensive player fouls to be reviewable. That's huge. Because like we said off air, if that's the case in this past season, the Saints are going to the Super Bowl, and the Rams aren't. So that's a big deal. Now, obviously, these are proposed changes as of this show right now, and we'll find out next week if these actually do pass. But that's a big deal. And what do you think about it? You think it's taking too much away from the on-field game, or do you think it's a good thing?
I think if you have instant replay in play and you don't use it to its full usage,
that's a good point.
You're doing disservice to the game and to the fans. So, one, I know we talked about this. You brought up the Saints. How about the pass interference call on Tom Brady that never hit him in the head?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, so I know that we could go over these calls and we could go through some of the Eagles plays that were like, oh, how about the Michael Pennant roughing a passer?
I agree.
So I think that the coaches want them. Right, because they want to get it right. They spent. Here's another thing. I know we're on pace with the coaches stuff again, but these guys spend so much time trying to get things right and getting these guys prepared for the game, and the players, they want what's best for the players.
Yep.
And if you have this technology, then you should use it. Do fans care if a game goes 3.5 hours or 4 hours? Football? No way. If you told me football was on for 6 hours, we would sit and watch it, right?
We basically do anyway. We just double headers.
Right, exactly. So I believe that they'll get passed through, and I think that they absolutely should be on board with it.
It's a good point because I think it may have been Sean Payton, one of the head coaches. Listen, this can cost a coach's job.
Yeah.
These calls cost coaches their jobs.
Yeah.
Damn, what the hell is wrong with me, man?
I still don't think you got it right.
We'll find out on playback. But no, seriously, I mean, it's honest to God truth. So I think it's a big deal. And the next thing is giving teams an option not to kick off after scoring in the fourth quarter. Instead of choosing an onside kick, teams could attempt to run an offensive play from their own 35-yard line. If that play goes for 15 yards or more, the team would maintain possession. If not, opposing team would take over. So that's an interesting rule, too. No onside kicks.
I love the onside kick, man.
You know what? I like it less and less because it's 90% of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's just you know what I mean? It's like so. I think this is another. Here's the difference, though. This is another way to scheme, right? I think you could scheme a play, a defensive play, more than you could scheme an onside defensive play. So
now I wonder why they're dissecting the onside kick because there's a couple safety issues there that I'm wondering if they're taking into play.
What's up?
So when you do an onside kick, the front line guys.
Okay.
We're the kicking team, right? We're kicking to these guys.
Right.
Their responsibility is to just take you out.
Okay.
It's head on. It's 10 yards. You line up. You line up. It's 10 yards.
You're a masher.
And this guy's standing still, and this guy is coming like a missile. And you have your fastest, strongest guys, right? And then right behind them are the guys that are going to go after the bouncing ball. Or once it hits one of those guys, they're the guys that go behind that. So I'm wondering if they're trying to take that out of the game because of safety issues.
Because of the concussion protocols and stuff like
and all that stuff. But also, it's what you're putting in play is offense again. So what sells?
Fantasy football. I mean, honestly.
I wonder if you can advance on that play. I wonder if the rule – so if I'm on offense and I'm on my 35 and I throw a pick, I wonder if that count you know what I mean? Or is it a dead ball?
No, it says if that play goes for 15 yards or more. So I'm guessing you can.
I mean, on the defensive side.
They intercept the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
like a 2-point conversion, I guess.
You can advance on a 2-point conversion. Can't? Oh, no, it's a dead ball.
It's a dead ball unless you score a 2-point. Right, you run it 90 yards for 2 points. But right, I think that's what you do. You only get 2 points, which sucks
on defense.
So, on defense,
you can advance it. Okay, so I mean,
put it this way though. Think about this. Would you rather see the Patriots try to kick an onside kick, or do you trust that Brady's going to get that 4th and 15 more?
Yeah, that's
or a Drew Brees, or even a Big Ben, or a Wentz, or something.
They're going to the offense.
Yep.
They're playing into the offensive, and they're taking special teams away slowly but surely.
Well, it says it's still an option, so they're not eliminating the onside kick. They're giving the team the option.
Wow.
Not to kick off. So you can choose. Do we want to do the onside kick, or do we want to do a 4th and 15, basically?
Yeah.
So why couldn't it be like a 4th and 26? But
Fred X,
filet mignon.
Fred X.
That dude's crazy. But nah, man, listen, it's going to be interesting. It says that the New York Giants owner, John Mara, was the only member of the committee who wasn't in favor of making the change.
For which rule?
For the onside kick rule, the 4th and 15 rule. So
one guy.
You
got to be that idiot, and either Giants who just
he is the guy who traded Odell.
So,
right?
So, he's a jackrabbit anyway.
Yeah, good job, John. Way to go. Keep it up with the good decisions. But speaking of decisions, the Eagles were in the news, and the Eagles are in the news for multiple fronts. We're still talking about the running back situation. Howie said basically pump the brakes, relax, got plenty of time to add a running back. I get it. I still concerns me. I think it's a little interesting. I don't know if you guys seen this, but a report came out the other day that Deuce Staley, who obviously is their running backs coach, offensive guy, on a assistant head coach, he really said that he loved Tevin Coleman, and Tevin Coleman was his number 1 ranked running back in free agency. Knowing Tevin Coleman only signed for a 2-year, $10 million deal, it makes you wonder, how much stock do they put into Deuce's decisions? How much stock does Deuce have into the overall game plan now? Or was it a simple fact that Tevin Coleman wanted to go back, just play for Kyle Shanahan again, in 49er land, and that's why he took the deal. So we'll never know. But my thing is, the reason I don't like this is because you hear that the Eagles are talking to Drew Rosenhaus on negotiations with Jay Ajayi. I'm sorry. Leave Jay Ajayi alone. I don't want a guy who's already had 2 bad knees and tore his ACL as a guy that we want to bring on. I'm past that. Listen, I like what Jay did. I think he was a big help in getting us to the promised land and winning that trophy with that trade. But at the end of the day, you want this guy as your I mean, not say feature guy, but one of your main guys. Just draft somebody then. Why would you sign somebody like this? Just draft somebody. And speaking of which, don't we have enough guys coming back from previous injuries this year? A la Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, Derek Barnett. Half the team was injured last year. So why? I don't understand. I don't like that move. And the other move is Carson Wentz. Is it too early to talk extension? Do you let him play out this year, okay, and probably sign him for $32, $33 million at the end of the season? Or do you bite the bullet now and try to get him under like 27 to 29? Because starting quarterback, let's face it, is about 20% of your cap hit. And I know how he works some magic. That's a big deal. So what do? Is it too early to start talking extension, or do you wait? What do you think?
Well, all right. Let's rewind to
Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, Lev Bell didn't get even questioned from Deuce Staley. That's a question mark for me. You picked
Tevin Coleman
over Le'Veon Bell.
Maybe he took all things considered,
which bothers me.
Okay,
which you take all things considered, and your first choice isn't Lev Bell. I'm questioning you, Deuce. Be honest.
Calling Deuce out.
Yeah,
yo, Deuce.
I would love to have a conversation with you and
Deuce here.
And try to explain to me why you wouldn't have Lev as your number 1 choice. Maybe that's why they don't listen to Deuce.
Yeah, could be. Remember that movie, Deuce Here? You ever remember that?
Deuce.
No, dude. Remember the kid was like, "Yo, Deuce here." Remember that's from?
No.
OG Bobby Johnson, South Central.
Central.
South Central. That's my boy, Ray Ray.
I remember Eazy-E said he had his Deuce with him.
Yeah, it was a boy. He was in the foster home, and his dad got incarcerated, and his mom was a crackhead. So they threw him in the foster home, and all the kids surrounded him. And he just was like, "Duke's here," and they all like backed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then OG Bobby Johnson got out of jail, and his old lady's pimp Ray was his name. He was working. His son was working for Ray Ray. So they were like, he was like, "Yo, Ray Ray, I'm my boy Ray Ray." He said, "I'm an OG and I'm taking him." Like I was like, "Yeah, okay, OG Bobby Johnson." You ever see that movie?
I think I did.
I'm sorry,
I know what you're
reminiscing
talking
here.
about.
But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I'm good with it. So and going to Carson Wentz, no, it's not too early to try to negotiate. I would start start negotiations now.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can trick them and get something for
Trick him.
Can we sign you for this, Carson? Yeah.
Well, not to mention it may make him feel a little warm and fuzzy too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, listen, this is a guy who's got a lot of mental stability issues going on a little bit, coming back from serious injury, watching your backup quarterback just take your team to the promised land, come in, act like it's easy. So it definitely, I think, would help the pressure points, I would say.
Maybe he won't see him with so many boils on his neck and stuff like that.
Yeah, what is going on? They
those
say that's
nerves.
from stress.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's what
Yeah.
the media is so funny in Philadelphia.
They picked that out.
They
dude.
picked that out. They were breaking his stones about the poor kid as he's skin whatever. And
What's up with that rash?
yeah.
Like
ripping the kid apart, man.
Philadelphia
Tough,
media
man.
is
It's tough.
I mean,
boy.
did you guys really think they were going to go out and sign Lev Bell? I mean, do you really think that was part of their game plan?
No, we didn't. But once you saw the money, that's when the problem came up. If you tell me that we could have got Lev Bell for that, why not?
I agree.
Because I don't think that management is putting that much stock into the running back position, obviously, which is why they didn't make a splash for any of these guys. Mark Ingram, to me, would have been a perfect fit. I mean, he's a couple years older. He's not as young as some of those guys. He would have been a perfect fit. You look back at the Super Bowl run, they didn't have a goat. I mean, they had Ajayi, they had Blunt. These guys, you know what I mean? They were never a high commodity. Miami couldn't wait to get Ajayi out of there. He was in the doghouse for 2 years. So I'm just saying, Philly, even though we're looking at this and we're talking about they should get that, I don't think management has an interest in that because they're worried about the defensive line, the offensive line, the cornerbacks, and looking at the other things that they know is lacking. And I think they kind of know their game plan where, we got a bunch of guys. We got a speedster to go to the outside. Yeah, it would be nice if we picked up a short yardage grinder or we got someone in-house. But they're going to rotate that workload. I don't think they made it a priority, and that's why there is no running back that was brought on outside of it.
What about TJ Yeldon, man? What is to me? He is the perfect fit.
Yeah.
You go in, right? Say you draft a guy. I think they love Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
I do. I think they
Alabama?
love him. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on.
Right.
Right
So
here.
I think maybe I look at. I hate to say it, but the New England Patriot mold, right? New England Patriot mold. They draft Sony Michel first round. He's kind of like their horse. Mm-hmm. They have James White, who to me is I know this is crazy, but he's kind of like Wendell Smallwood. Okay, he's a guy who can catch the ball, who's a little shifty, right? They use him, and then they have Burkhardt, right? Who is a masher. We don't have a masher. We have Corey Clement, who they still say could still be injured. So my thing is, they can go that route, but why wouldn't you bring a guy like Yeldon in who can catch, who can block, and who can run?
See, but here's the difference with New England. It's the scheme and the game plan. It's not just the guys. It's how Belichick uses those guys.
Yeah, but you still need a little bit of talent, dude. You see
need
what
a little bit
happened?
of talent, but 90% of what they get, it's because the scheme and the game plan and the lineup. The minute they put James White in, what is everybody thinking?
Pass.
Oh, pass. Right. And then what do? Then they'll run him for 15 yards up the middle because you say, he's never going to do that.
Right. No,
all right?
I agree.
They got so many guys that they rotate in, and Burkhead is not just a masher because he catches balls.
Yeah, but at least they have a Burkhead.
Well, they do, but I mean,
Burkhead. What was the explanation there?
No,
like
because
that.
you said
I said Burkhardt.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know. But
I'm screwing
But I'm
everything up
saying,
there.
I don't know. Is he like you said? Is he any different than Clement? I mean, he's not even he's just a guy.
Yeah, but he's a big guy.
But he's still just a guy.
He's
you know
a
what I mean?
LeGarrette Blount.
Look, and James White, he's a talent. James White gets his passes. They run him on a wheel route or something, and he's going deep. They don't do that with Smallwood. So I'm just saying, it's the way they use these guys too, and them opening up the field to the quick passes. They'll put James White out wide any given moment, you know. So it's usage too. It's not just the guys.
No,
it's
you're
the
right.
usage.
I agree with John that the Eagles did not prioritize and don't prioritize the running back position
Just
on this
like
team.
linebacker.
Right. That doesn't mean, like, if you have the horse that you're not going to use them. They choose not to. That's their choice. That's their prerogative. That's how they prioritize, like you said, the defensive line, and offensive tackle. I agree with you. That is, and the Eagles made that obvious this offseason with not going after Coleman or Bell or other guys that they could sign at a higher price than they wanted to. They have slotted numbers that they will spend in certain positions, and they're obvious comfortable with the rotation. And if they draft a running back, they'll have him on a rookie contract for 4 years.
Well,
Right?
Which is imperative when you want to give Carson Wentz $30 million plus a year.
As long as his blocking's there. But that could also be why they've not targeted running back. They know that they're going to look. We know the guy we want, or we know two guys we want in the draft, and maybe they feel that they're better off picking one or two of those. Picking one of those two guys.
Right.
Saying, look, I'm going to lock up what I got. I'm going to go do my free agent everywhere else, and I'm getting one of these two guys in the draft.
Well, we talked
and
about that. They interviewed 13 running backs.
Right. So we know where their head's at.
Yeah. Now,
But-
if you don't draft a running back, we're really confused.
Yeah, but here's the issue. Are we going to draft the right running back? A la Donnell Pumphrey.
Well,
So I'm just saying, our
you're
history
right.
with
You're rolling the dice.
you are.
You're
I
rolling
mean,
the dice.
we're our best two drafted running backs are two guys that were undrafted, and Josh Adams and Corey Clement.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Andy drafted us a nice couple running backs.
yeah, he did. Where'd they go?
Well, Westbrook was one.
B.
in the
West.
in the third round.
Third round.
Out of Villanova.
Villanova. Everybody said he was too small.
Yeah. Well, he was small, but he used it to his
He
advantage.
was a stud.
Yeah. Westbrook was fun to watch.
He was. And shady, right?
Yeah. How about that one? Would have been the all-time Eagle rushing leader. Should have never been traded. So he drafted
Chip Kelly.
two fine running backs.
Oh wait,
for us.
he was traded for Kiko Alonso, right?
And then Kiko went to Miami.
Yep. But
And-
who else? Kiko Alonso. Remember, was it straight up for Kiko Alonso in a draft pick?
We might have got draft picks
Oh.
for him.
It was a bad trade.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We got Leotis McKelvin from Buffalo. I don't know. I don't think that was through.
No, that
trade.
was a signing.
That was a
signing.
signing.
Yeah, we signed him because he was familiar with
My buddy.
Schwartz, your boy Schwartzy. Yeah.
Did I was that out loud?
So let me ask you something about the Eagles, okay? Because I wrote an article last week on Philly Influencer, and I talked about the Eagles being too old. And I'm going to say one thing about this, too. Again, and I've noticed this because I've talked to people and I see it. So I wrote this article, right? I wrote it out. The title is, Are the Eagles Too Old? And I literally broke down every player they re-signed, their ages, everything. 5 hours later, on a national local website, man, another big writer writes almost the same exact thing. What's up with that, man? That annoys me. It could
stole
be
your
just
stuff.
coincidence. Nah, I don't think it is. I
Did
think
he
it's
give
just
you any
coincidence. Well, no, it's not like he took my art, but I just think sometimes people need to come up with their own ideas. That's just all I'm saying. And if not, how about saying, hey, I was looking, I seen this, so I want to break this down further or something. You know what I mean? I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, what title did you write that for? That was under what?
Eagles keep getting older.
But who was it for? Philly?
PhillyInfluencer.com.
Well, look what you did. You influenced
I did. I influenced
another
somebody.
writer.
Exactly. Well, I wish that writer would pay me back with the influence.
So I didn't read your article, and I apologize for
So-
that. But listen, I want to ask you something.
Yep. I'm going to break it down for you.
Okay. So in the old regime under Andy Reid, remember
30.
when? Yep. The
Wrong
number.
side of 30.
So did you put that in your article?
It used to be, right.
Yeah.
And it was now
You
we're in a shift,
Yeah,
which is weird.
We're backpedaling.
So you look at Brandon Graham,
Yeah.
3-year deal, 31 years old.
Never would have happened under Andy.
Extend Jason Kelsey into 2021, 31 years old. Re-sign Jason Peters, 37 years old. Eagles trade for Deshaun Jackson, 32 years old.
Yeah.
Eagles sign Andrew Sendejo. I know he's just a depth guy.
Yeah.
31 years old.
I like
Eagles
him,
sign
too.
Vinny Curry, 31 years old. And then check this out. This is another thing. This is why I don't have an easy feeling about the Eagles coming into the season.
Yeah.
Guys on the team coming off of injury. Paul Warlow, linebacker, torn ACL. Rodney McLeod, safety, torn ACL. Derek Barnett, shoulder. Josh Sweat, ankle. Ronald Darby, torn ACL. Jalen Wills, foot. Corey Clement, knee. Mac Hollins, groin. These are all guys that you want. That some of these guys are, they're integral parts of this team that are coming off major injuries.
Yeah.
So now you have an older group with a bunch of injured guys, and everything going to fall on Carson Wentz again?
Yeah. The recipe doesn't look real good, does it?
I mean, I hope that we pick up a bunch of nice players in the draft, and this whole thing with with Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson works out. I think that's a huge deal up the front, but I don't know, man. I mean, I like the Darby signing. I think that was
Necessity.
and risk reward, right? I mean, 1-year deal.
Yeah.
If he's back week 6, Howie's going to go to him and say, "Yo, he's 25 years old. Why not sign him to a 4-year extension for big money?" That I'm cool with that, because did you see some of the money that guys were getting in free agency?
Yeah.
Dude, Devin Funchess got $13 million for 1 year with the Colts. Wow.
Yeah.
Landon Collins broke the bet. Dude, Washington stinks.
No.
The Redskins will never, ever win. We'll be in the grave before the Redskins ever win anything. Okay? Because that team is horrible. I mean, what did they do? It's just ridiculous the way they overpay for people. But, I mean, am I right to be concerned here?
I don't know. I mean, none of them are that long-term contracts. I mean, look, you're talking about if you think you could squeak another year out of Kelsey, you could squeak 2 years out of this guy, a year out of this guy. I mean, they're kind of building up these older guys. All right, now we know what we got locked up, and we know that we got to bring in some young blood to refill this. But they're kind of buying that 2 years,
Right.
And now it's it's like almost any team. You get get them old guys, and then you got to restock with the young ones. But I think this is the last year of the older regime, and then it's gonna within 2 years it's gonna flip to young as anything.
Yeah, we'll recycle soon. So I agree with Tony's concerns, because we just watched that not too long ago with our Philadelphia Phillies. Right?
Yes.
I mean, we held on to our heroes.
We did.
Because they won us a championship, and rightfully so. Like, Howard deserved the stuff that Howard did. He deserved a contract. J-Roll and Utley and Victorino, and the one guy that I wanted to keep, we got rid of, was Jason Worth. But ultimately, we held on to these guys, and what you're seeing the Eagles do resembles that, and I understand the concern. So I think football is a little bit different.
A little bit.
I think if we went on 31 other teams of the NFL's rosters and we see the injuries that these guys are coming through and the veterans that they have on their team, I think we're not so far off, in other words. I think that a lot of teams do similar stuff. So I don't know.
Every team has a few injuries, but I mean, especially that offensive line. I mean, really, are you going to get something better than Peters and Kelsey over the next 2 years?
Listen, I'm a huge
I get
Peters
the age,
guy.
and I get that they're going to be on the decline. But you got to look at what's my other option. If I don't re-sign these guys, what do I have?
I mean, you
want to talk about developing a young quarterback? I mean, you need that rock.
I agree. I mean, you did re-sign Salamalu to a 3-year deal, which they like that. You do have Malata and you have Big V, okay, that are maybe going to be tutored by Jason Peters.
Yes, and you need that cohesion, too.
Yes.
You can't just go and pull in 3 free agent offensive linemen, stick them on there just because they're Pro Bowls, and they're going to all of a sudden, mesh together and actually work together. So, I mean, it takes some time for those linemen. You know how it is. Even when you got the guard out or whatever for 2 weeks and there's no consistency, you got guys swapping left to right and playing out of position, things they're not accustomed to. Man, with the size of the rush, the pass rush, and all these things, you got to learn so many different positions, and you can't excel at every single one of them when you're not doing it day after day, week after week.
I agree.
And that's another great point, like you said, bringing Peters back. We talked about on this show, we brought up about the upcoming draft at tackle position and the free agent tackles. There was nothing. So you're I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say you're stuck.
I have no problem with the Peters move.
Yeah.
I like the Peters move.
Yeah.
The Kelsey move surprises me because, and what scares me about that is I love Jason Kelsey, but here's a guy who said he was pondering retirement.
Yes.
And now you just made him the highest paid center in football and extended him for 2 more years. I don't know. I mean, I'm a
play
little
by Jason Kelsey,
right?
Huh?
Right? Yeah, you're right. I mean, it gives me a little uneasy
Look at it
feeling.
Look at the other way. You know what? I'm going to retire. We're going to pay you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If
Don't
that was
retire.
Planned, good for him. But yeah, we'll see. Listen, it's a long season. It's still early in the all season. We'll be talking draft soon enough.
Soon enough. That's like less than a month away.
Crazy, man.
Or just about a month.
I want to see who's going to take over for Mike Mayock on NFL Network because you had Kuiper versus Mayock.
Yeah.
Well, Mayock's now the GM of the Oakland Raiders. So who's going to be the draft guru on NFL Network? That's what I'm waiting to see.
They made a big signing for Antonio Brown. They brought in Landry Jones.
Oh, my God. That stiff who was a backup in Pittsburgh?
For 5 years.
You bring up, can Antonio Brown replicate the same numbers in Oakland with Derek Carr?
He can, but he won't.
I don't think so. Do you think so?
I don't think Gruden's offense works like that.
But do you think he'll reinvent it for him?
No, I think Brown is going to give you 2 solid years there of adequate receiver play.
Okay.
And you look at Gruden's history with some aging receivers. He had Tim Brown when the Rich Gannon era was going on and they were successful.
Yep.
He had Tim Brown. He brought in Jerry Rice. He had guys like James Jett.
James Jett.
Yeah. And
I remember James Jett.
So I think that he spreads the ball around a lot, and I think he'll utilize him in the slant patterns and stuff like that Antonio can run and does a nice job of it, and he'll have success. Will he duplicate the numbers that he's had? I find it very hard to believe. Number one, because of his age, and number two, new system.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different than what he's used to running, downfield passing plays where he's making big plays. This is Gruden's offense is a lot of dinking and dunking and slants and catching and running.
It's also Derek Carr, not Ben Roethlisberger.
And QB
Very
receiver
good.
combinations take a long time. Yeah. Think about I'll bet you every year, 250 yards of Antonio Brown's stats come from a blown play that Roethlisberger got out of and hit him with a deep pass. So right off the bat, I don't see Carr doing that. And if Carr starts forcing the ball like Ben kind of did from time to time, even though that whole thing went on. But if Brown's not getting the ball,
what's going to happen.
There's going to be a blow-up, and I'll tell you what, and if Carr starts forcing the ball, I mean, he hasn't shown us all that much as a quarterback to date. Granted, he hasn't had a lot of, team to deal with. I mean, he had some guys that, he could work with, but, I mean, you bring Gruden on. I mean, now he has all the tools, but he hasn't really instilled confidence in at least the fantasy football community that he's going to be someone that's going to be able to keep Antonio Brown at the level he is.
It's going to be a very lofty proposition for him. It really is. And look at the flip side.
I'll tell you what, Carr is a sleeper in fantasy
he
football,
could be.
though.
I mean,
I'll take a flyer on him. Well, I don't think he's going to do it.
Well, yeah, you're not going to draft him as your starter. But,
unless I wait till the end and go with like a, I don't know.
Derek Carr.
I would double up.
Andy
with like,
Dalton?
Not Dalton.
Roethlisberger?
No. He ain't going to fall. But, yeah, I would definitely go Carr, Roethlisberger.
That's lucky if he doesn't get injured in the first week. That old ass. But speaking of Roethlisberger, what about JuJu? Now JuJu's the man, right? He's the man in Pittsburgh. can he duplicate the numbers when he had Antonio on the other side? Is he going to be able to handle that double coverage? Is he going to be able to handle the pressure of being the number one guy? You think he could do it?
No, he is a great receiver.
Because you probably watch him more than we have.
He will not put up the same numbers because he doesn't have the distraction of Antonio Brown.
So you think that's what
there's going to be more attention on JuJu than ever before. Brown's not there. Now, who I do like already as a sleeper is Dante Moncrief.
I seen that signing.
I'm telling. Look, he had his career year was with Andrew Luck.
Yep.
Then he goes wherever I know
Jacksonville.
I know he's Jacksonville. I don't know if he had one stop somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But this guy's still a young guy. He was pretty talented. He was up and coming, and then things fell apart. But I'll tell you what, it looks like he wants to work. And same thing that JuJu got to enjoy with Antonio Brown there. Now the attention's on JuJu, which is opening up a door for either Moncrief or James Washington, because Ben's
love Washington.
Ben's going to throw for close to 5,000 yards, so somebody's catching it.
They love Washington out there.
There's going to be more than one guy catching it.
I can see that.
So it's a matter of who, and I can see Moncrief stepping up. Look, JuJu will get 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, and probably close to 100 grabs, somewhere 90 to 100. Kind of do my projections.
We were getting emotional over there for a little bit over Antonio.
That dude.
He's mad because he's
tip of 40 to his memory.
No, actually, no, I am not mad. I need this team to get back into shape, and I'll tell you what, get the hell out.
He's come out and said some pretty, pretty definitive issues with Mike Tomlin. I mean, do you think Tomlin's an issue? I love Mike Tomlin.
Look, once again, we've gone into the coaching aspect of these things, and everybody coaches different.
But he's got a history with players, though, of wanting to leave. That's all I'm saying. It's Antonio ain't his first rodeo.
Well,
right?
It depends which players you talk to. A history of players that want to leave.
Who's willing to leave?
And is it against Tomlin or is it against Ben? Or Ben.
They because say Ben's not a great guy either.
Well, yeah, and everybody in Pittsburgh's known that. He's
right.
not.
He's a dirtbag.
He's not your buddy guy. He's not the guy you're going to go fishing with.
Wasn't he whipping his Johnson out in a bar or something?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Him and Favre did it. Well, I think he was taking pics of it in the bathroom or something with some shit.
I don't know. But look,
every team's had one of them. Mike Mamola did it, right? Didn't he?
Look, Ben has won 2 Super Bowls, and
I'll tell you what,
he has more Super Bowls than Tomlin, and I think Ben is probably just about the same age as Tomlin, practically. So when Ben is running the show out there, he thinks he knows better than the coaching staff, okay? And he has the ability to audible out, and he feels like he has almost total control. Look, Tomlin needs to get the locker room in check, but it has to be in conjunction with Ben, and Ben needs to be smarter, plain and simple. Look, Coach Dave said you have to learn to be able to disagree and move on. So many of these things could be solved by just talking like adults in a room together instead of being stubborn or whatever. That goes for Ben, that goes for Kevin Colbert, it goes for Tomlin, it goes for Bell, Brown. Pick whoever you want. You know what I mean? You got these guys saying Ben fumbled on purpose. His dude's played two downs in his entire life.
Come on.
But he wants his 5 seconds of spotlight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
why not? Don't you?
Time. Well, it is what it is. But look, Bennett, he's not a shining star, the best teammate, and the best things. But he is one of the most competitive players on the team. He wants to win. He feels that his way of winning is better than anyone else's. He might not take constructive criticism well, but he's thrown for 5,000 yards, and he typically over his career he's won.
Yeah.
And what happened last year? And then
what
were they? They were 9-6-1, and everybody says about losing Bell. Bell was already gone. Yeah. He was already gone. So yes, it's the Brown malcontent, and it is what it is. But.
So what you've just described is all the successful teams in the NFL have a coach-quarterback relationship. Those two rule the roost. And every other player that wants to be in that pecking order has to know the role.
Right.
Yes. You're the number one receiver in the league. You're not the number one player on this team.
We see it play out right here with Donovan and Andy and T.O.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly how it played out.
Yeah.
Got to get on board.
Or leave the ship.
And you look at offensive linemen. Who are they always on board with?
The quarterback.
Quarterback.
Of course.
Always with the quarterback. You know what I mean? So, all right, now you got the big guys. You got your quarterback.
You know why that is?
Everybody else fall into place.
I'll explain that to you, in my opinion, why that is. Because the offensive linemen are the only ones that can reach the quarterback. When an O-lineman goes to a quarterback and says, you got to act a certain way or you got to behave a certain way, that quarterback will listen to them because it's respect.
Yes.
Because I'm protecting you.
Yeah,
if you're acting like an a-hole and the O-lineman and Pouncey, the center of the Steelers, goes to Roethlisberger and says, you know what? You better behave a certain. We got your back. You take care of us.
Yep.
That's how it works. It's called respect, and it's a pecking order. Coach quarterback. The number one coach quarterback in NFL history is what? Belichick, Brady. No one else matters. And I don't mean it to be mean, but that's how it goes. And the other two malcontents, Bell and Antonio, they didn't like it. So see you later.
We'll see what happens.
And a franchise that has the franchise that has the most Super Bowl rings ever.
What about them?
That's how they run their ship.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And no two guys are going to say any different.
We did Belichick and Brady, bro. Right? Look at Belichick and Brady.
Second most, or tied for the most.
No, I'm just thinking of relationships. I mean, even you can't say Rodgers and McCarthy because McCarthy was a little strange. That's why I lost that job out there. But until everything happened with Flacco. I mean, Flacco and Harbaugh. I mean, you look at these relationships that these guys had. So it is true. But I want to talk a little off topic here before we get to some baseball talk. And if everybody didn't know, on Monday of this week was National Cheesesteak Day. And obviously the cheesesteak is synonymous with Philadelphia food history. There are some people that argue and say it's not the best sandwich for Philadelphia, which I completely disagree. I am a big cheesesteak guy. I know John's shaking his head because he's a Pittsburgh guy. So he.
Oh no, cheesesteak Philly.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm shaking my head. Some people say that cheesesteak.
Some people they're saying the roast pork.
No
way.
No
way. So just listen. I don't like chopped steak. Okay, I'll be straight up with you. National Cheesesteak Day. I'm going. There's two spots. I'm going to Steve's Prince of Steaks. I'm going to Chinks, a la Joe's. Okay, I know it's Joe's now, but they're my two spots. I know people say D'Alessandro's. I've had them. I wasn't impressed.
Yeah. D'Alessandro's is good.
I think it's just the roll was a little soggy to me. Like I'm a Steve's guy.
I'm a Steve's Prince of Steaks guy.
You American?
Oh yeah.
No whiz.
No whiz.
Yeah, I can't do a whiz.
There's no reason for whiz unless you're having cheese fries. My fries.
No, at Steve's you got to get the spicy fries with the side of American.
I'm on board with that too.
Yeah. The spicy fries.
I was ready to put my stomach in front of the mic because it just keeps growing nonstop. Nonstop.
See?
I'll tell you what. I'm not even picky when it comes to cheesesteak. Look, I could pick apart a cheesesteak or whatever here and there, but that's nitpicking. Almost the worst cheesesteak you get in Philadelphia is better than the best cheesesteak anywhere. Pick anywhere. Maybe I guarantee you there's some good spots in Florida, where the retirees go down
right, because there's a lot of people from
Florida.
Right,
or like somewhere in Charlotte or something. Yes. No. I've had a few in Pittsburgh. They were many years ago because I just will not do it. If I'm in Pittsburgh and I'm craving a cheesesteak, I'm like, this is stupid. I ain't ordering it here. I'll wait another 5 days and get it home.
I like how people, when you walk into Steve's, or even for Pat's and Gino's, for that matter, you need to know how to order. And it says right there, man, like, yo, this is how you need to order to keep the line moving. Yeah. It's funny when you get on, could I have a large cheesesteak with American cheese? And they're like, yo, dude, come on, man. Is it with, without? Is it cheese? Is it whiz? You know what I mean? You got to know how to order. But I've been going to Steve's for years. Old school place down in the old hood, down on St. Vincent Street. People know it in Northeast Philly. And then it moved up to the far Northeast up on, Conley Road and a Boulevard. And now they have them all over. They have them down 30th Street. They have one in Yardley. But Steve's Prince of Steak, shout out. Maybe we get some free steaks from Steve's here for this all this publicity we're giving. You hear that? Hear that? Sit down. Just kidding. But they're
I'm not. I hope you're right.
I truthfully, I don't have a preference on.
No?
So I want some type of cheese and I want some type of onions. I don't care, fried, unfried,
See, I
raw.
don't do
onions.
onions.
I'll do the raw, and I'll
You
do
will
whiz.
or will not?
I don't.
No?
I'll do whiz. I'll do provolone. I'll do American. I don't care.
American
cheesesteaks.
cheese melted is
It's got to be melted.
yeah, that's like
Yes.
almost
Yes.
No, that's
heavenly.
absolutely.
key.
Yeah.
You ever get that? They just throw the slices on there, and it's like not even like yo.
How about when you go to like a different state or whatever? Like you mentioned Florida, and you get Philly cheesesteak, and then it's actual like a slab of steak.
Yo, when you see that on a menu, don't order it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That just
Exactly.
means it's a complete fraud.
Yeah,
But yeah, man.
Did you guys ever have Mamas?
Mamas?
Yeah,
Never heard
down by the main line. Oh, I'll tell you what. Look,
Mamas.
it does not crave my regular cheesesteak flavor.
Road trip? Is it a heat ratio road
Well,
trip?
I'll tell you what. This thing, when you get it, this thing weighs 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
It probably weighs 5
Is that
pounds.
like the
And
Gooey
when you-
Louie's?
There is so much cheese on this thing, and when you bite it, the grease just pours out. But I'll tell you what, you get this bag. It is so heavy just
Really?
for one cheesesteak. Yeah, it's for me. Sometimes it's a little too much, like overload of cheese. But I haven't had it in a while, and I would like to refresh my memory.
Oh, that sounds good. I think we need to take a road trip next week. Maybe we'll film a little Facebook Live there. We'll get a little publicity for, what do they call it?
Mamas.
Mamas. Going to Mamas.
Mama just
You
killed
a man? Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Wow. Yeah, American Idol doesn't want you to.
Definitely not.
But listen, we talked cheesesteaks. I would get to it because it's National Cheesesteak Day, and see if we were on the same page. But our last segment, obviously, in one day. Actually, Phillies open up, Major League Opening Day. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's just I'm going to be down there. I'm going to the Sixers game that night. Philly Influencer night, the Sixers game. Be hanging at Xfinity Live. Everybody's come down, hang out. We'll all be there. But what are your expectations? Got 5 minutes here. Just listen. We know the lineup. Okay, we know. It could be. Obviously, Dave wants to hang his hat because he was. I was the closest with the lineup.
I was only 2 off.
Yeah.
I had the exact same thing,
Oh my
except for
God.
2 out of 9.
Yeah. Okay, Dave.
I'd love to hear what that percentage is on your kid's test. I got 7 out of 9.
Yeah, let's go with bobblehead. But
It's like 63%.
You guys are
That's like a
haters.
D.
Man.
That's because you two were way off.
way off. But anyway, what are your in a 1 minute answer? Your expectations for the Phillies and where you expect them to finish in National League East. Just in the East.
In the East,
This is preseason picks here, obviously, but look at it. It's going to be one of the toughest divisions in baseball.
they got the best team on paper.
Right. I agree.
feel that the back end of their rotation is going to hurt them. They're going to be chasing Washington towards the end. Hopefully they make a move at the deadline to shore up that rotation, and they make it as a wild card. On paper, they should win the East. But I'm predicting a wild card and then going and losing in the first round.
Wow. I won't.
I mean, winning the wild
Right.
card
I hear
play
you.
in, and then
I mean, I won't go. I won't go as far as how far. I think they'll go, but I think hands down they're winning the East. And I just think they replicate the 2018 where we went into the season and we weren't sure what we had pitching wise, but we just had an unbelievable hellacious lineup that just was scoring 5 to 6 runs a game. And I just think that's the way this is going to go. I think the back end of their bullpen is strong. I don't think it's weak. I think it's strong, and I think Robertson's going to be a huge help back there. I really do, and I think that. Again, they made a move that year for Jamie Moyer. They made a move for Joe Blanton. And I think that could be the same thing this year. Don't sleep on Nick Pivetta. So I'm going to say, don't sleep on Pivetta. And if Velasquez can just get his thing in check, his control to settle down, listen, they could have Arrieta, 8 strikeouts last performance. He's going to, listen, Larry Bell has said it. Don't sleep on Jake. He was hurt last year. I think he comes back. Him and Nola combined are going to win 35 games, I predict. So I think it's going to be huge up there.
18 and 17.
I'm going 18 for Nola, 17 for Arrieta. You heard it right here. First place NL East. Go, Dave. You got 1 minute. What do you think?
Win the East, be in the World Series.
Whoa! Wow, that was unexpected, like a mama's cheesesteak.
This lineup right here, like you said, they're going to be strong. They're going to put a lot of runs across the plate, and they're talking about Arrieta pitching third. They're talking about the rotation being Nola, Pivetta, and Arrieta,
and then Eflin and Velasquez, or Velasquez Eflin, depending, 4 or 5. So listen, it's interesting, and I think the one good thing I think we can all agree is baseball is back.
Yeah, it's
thanks to Mr. Bryce Harper.
Yes.
And JT Realmuto and Gene Segura and Andrew McCutchen. I mean, this is going to be an exciting time at Citizens Bank Park. And before we end, we've been missing this. I apologize. We got to give a shout out to Brandon Berry, who won our playoff fantasy football league.
Yep.
Okay, we sorry, Brandon. It wasn't our fault.
There you go, Fuzz.
Yeah, I'll take the heat. Okay, because I kind of do the.
What is it? Fuzzy Nuts 44.
Is that what it is?
It might be something like that.
Wow, Fuzzy Nuts. We had it all, just Fuzzy Nuts, Johnsons, and cheesesteaks. But, I mean, listen, it's not for lack of appreciation. It's just, listen, man, it just slipped my mind. I apologize. So, again, thanks for playing. We'll obviously have more contests coming up for this next football season. So, signing off as your host, Tony Cotillo at TCotillo23, John Coker at PGH John 36, and Coach Dixon at Coach Dixon 365. This is the Heat Ratio. Catch us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, every Wednesday, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, you name it. We're out.